Hey guys, welcome back. This is Jackie at All Things by Jackie. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe, and for the returnee, thank you so much for always tuning in. Today's video, I'm going to talk about my immigration journey. I've been getting a lot of this question from a lot of people, and the reason why I don't know how I should put it. I do reply, but I guess I made a video about this, and people keep asking me, and I decided that maybe I should make another video because we grown so much from when I recorded the previous video. So I'm just gonna dive in and explain my situation once again. And I always tell people that my situation is different from anybody, like everybody, like we're all individuals, right? Our journeys are not the same and they will never be the same. So like I say to most people that ask me, like basically to everybody, my situation is different. The Canadian immigration didn't take me straight from Namibia and brought me back to Canada just from, how should I put it? They didn't take me from Namibia just from like out of nowhere, right? I came to Canada 2010, October 9th. That's when I arrived in this country. So I arrived in Canada, and what happened is I came as a refugee, and my refugee claim was denied back in 20 what? 2013, 2012, 2013. 2013, my refugee claim was denied, and I got deported 2019 December. But before I got deported, I had an application in process. I'm trying to speak as slow as I can because I know that I stutter a lot and maybe some people do not understand when I'm trying to explain this. So I'm going to be as slow as I can. Okay, guys? So what happened is I had a humanitarian and compassionate ground application form. This is an inbound application. You cannot make it from outside Canada. At least that is how I know. So my application was an inbound application form from within Canada, not from outside Canada. Okay, guys? So when we got deported, what happened? So before we got deported, we had to provide evidence and stuff. Like that is stuff for another video. I'm coming back with another video about the immigration story, how we won our H&C and stuff, but that is not for this video. And like I know I always promise that I'm coming back with videos, but I never come back. But this one I'm coming back for sure. Like I'm going to record it right after this one. Yeah, just so you guys know that I'm coming back to it. So what happened is we went back to Namibia 2019, and then 2019 December, my husband left 2019 November, and then I left 2019 December, and then I believe COVID hit Jan 2020. That's when COVID started, but not in Namibia, but it started everywhere else, right? And then March, COVID hit in Namibia, lockdown. During the lockdown, that is when we got our Canadian, should I say, it wasn't permanent resident. That is when we got a response from the Canadian immigration. So we got a response from the Canadian immigration that they approved our humanitarian and compassionate ground application form. And then what happened is we went to visit my husband's mother's, my late mother's mother-in-law's grave, my cousin. So we went to visit her because she passed on while we were here. So we went to visit her, and then on our way back from there, I think we made a, not that I think, I know, we made a stop in Okahanja at ShopRite to grab something for the road, like a drink and stuff for the road and stuff like that. And then while we were in Okahanja, in ShopRite, I was in the store with my mom, and I remember getting a notification, and then when I pulled the phone down like this, right, it was a notification from, it says Niagara Falls Pro Immigration and stuff. And I told myself that I was not going to open it, but my heart was beating so hard. So I was like, you know what? Let me just open it. So I opened the email, and I almost fell down. I was with my mom, and she grabbed me. She was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm fine, I'm fine." It's just that something happened. She wanted to know what it was, and I was like, "I'm not ready to share the information with you right now because I do not know what is going on. I want to share with you when I know what is going on." So because I was so scared, I called my husband. I was like, "Can you come to the store right now?" And he was like, "What? Why? What do you want?" I'm like, "Just come straight right now to the store." So he came inside the store, and he came so fast because he thought something was happening with me because I have, I think, like this back pain and stuff. And I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about my back pain, but yeah, sometimes my back freeze and I would need like an emergency kind of help, stuff like that. But it is what it is. We're not talking about that. We're not grieving about the back pain. We are talking about something good. So let's focus on the goodness, okay? So her husband came in the store and I showed him the email. And he was like, "Does that mean we are approved?" I'm like, "It looks like that, but I don't know what's going on." Because we're in Namibia, and to be quite honest with you, we have never had anybody that went back, even if they had applications in Canada, that got approved while they were outside. Like for sponsorship is different because you can go from Canada and marry somebody in Namibia and then they get their papers. So that is a different scenario. You're not gonna compare that with what we have right now. So that is a different scenario. So sponsorship, like for what I'm talking about right now, is out of the picture. It's not about sponsorship. So, but just going out of Canada, both of you, and got approved and coming back, that was a miracle. Like, I don't want to talk for other people, but I'm speaking for myself. It was the very, very first time for us to hear about this. So we were like, so does that mean we got approved? We were having mixed emotions, you understand? So I called a friend of mine who had the same application form, but inbound in Canada, like I said, and they got approved while they were inbound. So I was like, would you mind if you send me a picture of your approval letter from the immigration stating that your agency got approved? And they're like, did you get a notification? I'm like, I got something, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to feel. They sent me the letter, and it was the same thing, and I got excited. But at the same time, we were both frightened because we were on the other side and we didn't know what they are going to say if we told them that we were outside the country, because they didn't know that we were outside the country. So I asked my lawyer to change the address, and my lawyer said, no, I could change the address for you, but you would have to pay 3,500 Canadian dollars. That is 35,000 Namibian dollars that I had to pay for him to change the address for me. And I was like, I don't have no $35,000 for changing address. Like, you're my lawyer, why am I paying you 35,000 for that? And I was like, no, the first part that you paid, it was just for me to put in the application. So if you want anything else like beside the application, you have to pay me extra to do it. And because I was desperate, you know, when people knows that you are desperate, you are on the other side, they know how desperate you are, and then they try to take advantage of that. So as a person, you also have to do your own research and find out if you are able to do some things on your own. You understand? So I was like, do I really have this much to pay? I wrote a letter to the immigration. I mailed it to my beautiful mother, Pastor Rose. Mommy, I see you. I wrote a letter explaining our situation, put the address down, and I mailed it. And you know, with COVID, it took a lot of time for the letter to reach to the immigration. So before the letter reached out, the same message that I wrote to the immigration from Namibia, I also wrote the same message to the agent that sent us the approval letter. So I sent an email explaining, no, we were deported, when, blah, 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 blah. We're in Namibia and stuff like that. We don't know how this is going to go about, and we want to change the address. And I was like, okay. I also explained, because there's a way you can change your address online, right? But I couldn't change that online at that moment because, like I said, our application was inbound. So it could only take Canadian address and not outside our address. So I explained, I tried changing my address online, it's not letting me. And the agent was like, no, that's not a big deal. They just send me your address, I'll change it for you. I was like, are you serious right now? I was going through all these hectics just for nothing. Okay. I submitted the address and they changed it for us. And you know what, guys? Sometimes, not sometimes, God, yeah, it is sometimes, because God works in mysterious way and we do not understand him, but we should learn to trust him. If he put you in a situation, he will take you out of that situation no matter what. Take it or leave it. He's gonna take you out of that situation without you realizing how he's doing it, without you knowing how he's doing it. Or you will say it's just breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough, because when we were back home, we were at a not a very low point, but we were at a low point, where you are among people that are seeing you with different eye, that are expecting things from you, that want to know more about your life, that want to know if you're going back, that want to know if you got deported. Like, personally with me, I never denied that I was deported, even before I knew I was coming back to Canada. I was making it straight to everybody who asked me, are you going back to Canada? I'm like, no, I got deported, so there's no way I can go back if I got deported. Maybe if I want to go somewhere, I might go to the UK, but I don't know if I want to go to the UK right now. That was me being straightforward. You understand? So, long story short, back to the immigration issue. So we got approved July 14th, and then somewhere between before end of July, our address was changed to the Namibian address, and then we got the first week of August. I think it was August 4th, August something there. We got another email to go for our medicals. So we went for our medical test, fingerprints, like the police clearance and stuff. We mailed our police clearance. I was dealing with a very, very good agent. I don't know if it's a he or she, but I keep calling her she. I keep calling the agent she. I do not know why, but that is just me. I feel like it was a lady. So I always refer to the agent as a lady. I don't know why. I don't know why, but yeah. So again, they were like, so since you are outside, because when they changed the address, we're like, they did change the address, but it is what it is, right? And she was like, so since you're outside the country, this is the link where to find doctors that does our medical exams, because we have our own physicians in Namibia that does this. You cannot go anywhere just by any doctor and say, no, do this for me. No, there are specific doctors that they have their own physicians. That's what I would say. So we went for medical check. We got our medical check, went to the police and got our fingerprints taken. They sent us a letter to get fingerprints taken. I met a very old friend of mine in Grootfontein who works by the police station. He helped me out. He was like, no, this is something that we do, but it was very easy going through somebody that you know. And mind you guys, I haven't met that guy. We never met for quite some time, because soon after I finished school, I flew to Canada. So we never met after that. But then that was the first time me and him meeting, and we were catching up, about life, talking about our life. He's a police, he have his own family, his life, and I have my own life, and that we are doing this. It's like, don't worry, these things happen. I did this also for another Canadian guy, for another guy who went back to Canada. It's normal, just bring the letters. Then the papers that I brought. I gave him the papers, he did everything. We mailed them fingerprints to a commissioner of oath here in Canada that does fingerprints. So they obtained our Canadian police clearance while we were outside Namibia. Okay. And then after that, what happened? So that was in August, and then we went mute till like October 2021. Was it 20? No, October 2020. October, we got another letter saying, no, we are done processing your application from Canada. So now you have another part to do. You have to apply for authorization to return to Canada. So that authorization to return to Canada, we had to apply through the SA. So they gave us the details. This is how you got to do it. And I got lost somewhere in between there, because I remember when we were leaving Canada, my immigration officer, it was our immigration officer, yeah. He told us that if we have to come back, he have to approve our authorization to return to Canada. So I thought we had to apply through the Canada Border Services, like from Canada, right? So I mailed out, and the office was like, no, you gotta apply through the South African embassy. We submitted our application the following day because we got busy there because we had bought this house. COVID now was almost over, not really over, but like things were starting to get back to normal, and the house that we bought, it was a trash house, so we had to start the whole renovation process and try to get the house in shape so that we can be able to stay in the house, right? So we went to Swakop. I think it was somewhere in December. We went to Swakop to start renovation of the house. So I was so busy, I got occupied with this business, then I wasn't paying attention to the application form. So we left the application form, and the following year, so 2021 Feb, I was like, you know what? So now that we have a roof over our head, we have a house that we can sleep in, can we get this application sorted? We started the application sorted. The reason why I'm not mentioning prices for all these things is because I'm gonna come back with a different video explaining the cost of the application form from within Canada all the way to us coming back to Canada. So throughout here, when we went to Namibia, and then when we came back, I'm gonna come back with a different video explaining all those things, but not in this one. That is henceforth, that is why I'm not mentioning the prices in this video. Okay, yeah. So I submitted the application Feb. We waited, and now that is when the wait began. The wait began, you know. Submitted the application, and then we had nothing from these people for a whole 1 year. And so we said Feb, March, April, May, June, July, Feb to Feb, it's a year. And then Feb to August, Feb, 6 months or whatever. March, April, May, June, July, August, yeah, 6 months. So for a whole 1 year and 6 months. And it's not because I was being quiet or anything. We were not quiet at all. We were on these people's cases. We would text them, not text, send messages, emails. Why am I saying messages? Send emails, call. And whenever you call, you will never get a hold of anybody. Never. I tried calling so many times, and I never got hold of anybody. I text, I called, I emailed, I called, no response. When you email, they responded twice to my email. And after that, they never responded. And I remember at the beginning of last year, March, they sent us an email, the Canadian immigration, right? The Niagara Falls, they sent us an email to do another blood test because our blood test had expired. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is another 10K that we have to pay because we had to pay for another blood test. And I wrote an email back to them, and I was like, is it possible to do the medicals when it's closer to coming back, or when it's closer to the other application, when the other application is done, because we do not know how long it's gonna take, and it's money for us to do this application, and we do not have that money right now. We could, give me one moment, my son is here, I have to go get him. Okay guys, I'm very sorry, I had to go get my boy. He went out for the weekend for a sleepover to his friend's house. So yeah, now I'm back. And like I was saying, so I explained to the immigration that we couldn't pay and pay twice again if it expires, because it only takes a year to expire, right? And we didn't know how long the other application was gonna take, because it already took like a year and a couple of months. So they were like, so it's okay. They were so understanding, like, you know. So they were like, it's okay, you don't have to do it. Let's wait and see how long the essay is gonna take, and then when you do it once, they can respond. So in August, I was admitted in a hospital. I was admitted in a hospital for my back pain. I had to go for a CT. Remember, your things are making noise. I had to go for a CT scan to Windhoek. So the reason why I was admitted is because I had to stay in the hospital to get the treatment. It's not because I was like very sick or anything, but I just had to stay in the hospital to get the treatment. So I was in the hospital for about 10 days. While I was there, not while I was in there, I was supposed to be discharged to go sleep in a tent. When Namibia has funny things, I was supposed to go sleep in a tent in Central for like, I think for that night, and leave the following morning. And I refused to go sleep in the tent. I was like, no, I'm not going to sleep in the tent. I'm going to sleep with my friend. So the next day, we'll come back and then come get the bus at the hospital, right? So I went to my friend's house. I called, she came and picked me up, and then we went to her house. And while I was lying down, like on the mat in the living room, I was just laying down there, and my husband called me, and he was like, no, the immigration is saying that you must do, we must go for blood work. I'm like, no, they can't send us. I was getting so angry, right? I was like, no, they cannot make us go for like blood work while we're not done. I already told them that we don't want to do the blood work before we get a response from the essay, right? Because if we do it now and then it get expired again, it means we have to do it again. Like, I don't want to pay twice. And he was like, I don't know what else they said, but that's all. That's what they said. I was like, and you know, with MTC, when you are using your data and something comes in, you cannot use the internet at the same time when you're on a phone call. So I had to end the phone call to read the message. So I ended the phone call, I read the message, I started, like I'm the kind of person that will take the phone, right? And then I'll just proofread. I'm not reading everything, I'm just looking for something that I want. So I was just proofreading, and then boom, your ART has been approved. I was not reading anything else. I screamed, and my friend came and she was screaming. Mind you, right? When Jackie was screaming, she was with her cousin they just came like that in that moment. That's when they walked in, right? And she was greeting them and stuff like that. So when I was screaming, she was outside. Mind you, I was a lady in a lot of pain. I was lying down on the mat, and I jumped and started screaming, and then she came in and I was screaming. And then her cousin and her cousin wife were like, why are you screaming? Why are you screaming? Why is she screaming? And then she was like, I don't know. I know she's happy, so we're happy. And and the cousin's wife was like, so you are happy while you don't know why she's screaming? She's like, no, she's happy. We are happy. So that's it. I don't care why she's happy, but I know she's happy. She's like, what's going on? Are you going back? I'm like, yes, I'm going. And you know, when we started screaming, it was a very, very exciting moment with my person, with the right person in my life. You know, Jackie is my soulmate, guys. Like, you guys won't understand, you know. It was so nice. I was feeling like I made it in life. Just being in that moment with her, and we've been together from day one through the whole application. Jackie, try this. Let's do this together, trying everything to make sure that everything is working out for the goodness of both of us. It was very nice. I screamed. We were so happy. And then I went back to Swakop the following morning, and then I went back to Swakop, stayed for a week, and then we went back to Windhoek for our medicals again. We did our medicals. Medicals doesn't take long. So we went for our medicals. I think we went on a Tuesday, and then on a Friday, they told us to send our passport to South Africa for stamping. So everything was done. Like, okay, we got your blood work, send the passport so that we can stamp them, and you guys can go, right? That's it. So we sent our passport. That was now in September, I think the second week of September. So us, by then, we knew that we were going back, because now we sent our passport. It was just for them to go put the stamp in and everything. So they only needed mine and my husband. The kids no, because they're Canadian. So it was just me and husband. So we submitted our passport. There's also a way to submit this passport, which, you know, it's a process. I would also have to come back with that part, because it's a part that I struggled with when I was in Namibia, and I would love to make it easier for somebody else that is going to go through the same process, but it's not going to come today. Unfortunately, I'll make time another day. But if I do have time today, I might come back with it. But if I don't, I don't. I'll see. It depends. I can't promise anything about it. It was a process. We sent out them passport to South Africa, and then it took 2 weeks for our passport to get back to us. Yeah. So, but then we had started making plans, like start packing, start getting the house ready, because the house was not ready. It was still under construction. We were tiling the living room when this message came. So now we had to go as fast as we can to finish this, and packing and moving things from Swakop to the village now. Like, so it's a whole relocation process that started there about, right? So we started moving. Then husband went to the village to go sell them cows. We are heroes, deep heroes for that matters, that believe in farming, and so husband when we had cows, husband went and sell cows to raise funds for the tickets. We were able to get money for the tickets. He came back, our passports came, like I think it was end of October. That's when those passports came. End of October. No, not October, September. End of September, or the first week of was it the first week or end of October, or the September, or the first week of October, our passport came. When our passport came, DHL called and they were like, we have your passport, we have your package from South Africa. Do you want us to go drop it off? Do you want us to come drop it off, or do you want to come pick it up? I was like, no, don't come, I'm coming. Don't come, you are taking room to come, because if you are coming, it means you have to make all the stops on your way before you can reach here. Leave my passport at the depot there, I'm coming. Mind you, at that moment, husband had gone to drop the kids off to school. As soon as he came in the house, we were like, no, we're going to DHL. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, yes, right now, we're going to DHL. They called, they have our passport. We went there, we got our passport, open, a stamp and everything. Oh my goodness, it was the most exciting moment. Now at this moment, we were 100% sure that we are going to Canada. No matter what, blood, by fire, by water, by anything else, we are going back to Canada. So that same day that we got our passport, we went to town to purchase our ticket. So we went, got our ticket. So the plan was, they were like, we want to go 21st of October. That was us. We are going to 21st of October. But 21st of October, the tickets were not ticketing. They were expensive. So we got our ticket flying October 26th. So October 26th it was. So we got our ticket, came home, started packing and moving things to the village and stuff like that. And October 26th, we flew with Ethiopian Airline. As we say Ethiopian Airline because we are heroes. That is us and our pronunciation. According to them, is Ethiopian Airline. So whatever, right? So we flew with Ethiopian Airlines, Ethiopia to Toronto to Fort McMurray. And once we reached in Toronto, my husband was stopped from flying with Air Canada for something we don't even know up to today. We've been trying to call them. They say call Air Canada to find out why they stopped him. Apparently he had an altercation with somebody in Fort McMurray back in 2010. In 2010, we were in Toronto. We were new immigrants in Canada. We had no idea where Fort McMurray was by 2010. We moved to Fort McMurray September 20. He moved June 2011, and I came September 2011 to Fort McMurray. So we had no idea of what they were talking about, and they were like, maybe it was just a mix, whatever. Try to talk to Air Canada and see what they say. Up to now, we haven't had anything from Air Canada. So he stayed in Toronto for that day and flew from Toronto with Swap the following day to Edmonton, and my brother-in-law brought him to Fort McMurray. Like I was saying, my phone went off. Sorry about that. But now we're back. So my husband came the following day with my brother-in-law from Edmonton. That same night that he arrived from Toronto, my brother-in-law brought him to Fort McMurray, and that is how we came back. And that is our immigration process from the start to finish. So the reason why I was sharing this information is because most people think we got deported, yes, and make an application from Namibia and got approved from Namibia. But no, our situation is different. We got approved while we were in Namibia for an application that we had while we were in Canada. So our stories are very different, and There is no way that anybody else can come to Canada with that way if you have never been to Canada, or if you did not have an application from when you left Canada to Namibia. If you had an application and then you got approved while you're outside, that is the same scenario. But otherwise, if it's not the same, unfortunately, Jackie here cannot be able to help you to relocate the same way she relocated. I'm not sure if that is making sense. I was just sharing my information just to make it clear, because most people, they assume that I made an application and then I came with an application. No, I did not. I came with an application that I made while I was in Canada, and then it got approved while I was on the other side. That is how we came back. Okay, guys? Yeah, well, and that's it, I think, for this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I think I answered a lot of questions. I do know, like, most people, they'll be like, no, okay, we want to talk about other other immigration process. Yes, they do have other immigration process, and yes, most of us, like from Namibia, right, most of the people that ask me, they do not qualify, because the express entry, unless you are coming with federal skilled worker, which is also hard. You need to prove your experience, you need to prove your qualifications and all those things, and most people, they do not have. They just are like, okay, but I'm just straight from Okonjatu and I want to come with the express, and it's not going to happen, because most people that get in the pool, they have qualifications, and they pick people from the pool. So you should be from the pool to be picked up, and if you're not qualifying from the pool, then unfortunately I'm not able to help. But that is the process. But if you have your degrees, your masters and stuff, and you have money, you also need to have money to apply for express entry. For a single person, you need like 130,000 Namibian dollars to have in your account, sitting in your account, to prove that you are going to be able to sustain yourself when you come to Canada. So yeah, but that is story for another day. I will explain. What is wrong with it? I will explain. I will explain in details in another video, which I don't know when it's gonna happen. For sure, not today, but it's gonna happen, but not today for sure. Already, I've been talking and talking and talking. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll come back with another video, because I said I was gonna record. I'm supposed to be recording like 4 videos or 5 videos for the whole of July, because I won't have time to record. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe and do the do's. Bye now.